folks. Hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the channel. So, this is my long overdue review of Foreign Tongues by the Rolling Stones. Now, I wanted to kind of sit with this record for a little bit and because impressions change. I mean, initially when I was listening to it, I mean, it was like I'm hearing elements of the Rolling Stones, the classic Rolling Stones, that whole loose vibe with the sort of the slashing guitars, the kind of interweave, and then the loose drumming and all that, and the space, which is what I like about the Rolling Stones, is their sort of looseness. It's like a almost a controlled kind of chaos, and I was getting that on initial listens, but what I was finding was when the choruses were kicking in, it sort of went from Rolling Stones into like um, it turned into let's write let's put in a very a big pop hook, and it almost sounded formulaic in a way as far as like building up to that big chorusy hook, with a lot of the songs. I was thinking, okay, it's kind of which is the Andrew Watt, I would think, contribution, right? Let's put in the big pop chorus. Let's get these songs on the radio. So for me, that was kind of diluting the Rolling Stones side of it, if you will. But listening to it more and more, I sort of started to change my opinion on that a bit. I didn't find that sort of contrast to be nearly as much, and it seemed to be more like, okay, you know what, even if, and I started thinking, even if it is has sort of a little bit of the pop influence on some of the to get the choruses up to a hooky pop mass appeal thing, it's still very Rolling Stones. um the looseness is still there. The space is still there. I gotta say that um Mick Jagger's vocals on this record, I think, are fantastic. He sounds amazing. And I found on Hackney Diamonds, when I was listening to his voice on that, that some of it sounded like there was a little bit of studio trickery maybe on his vocals. So at times it didn't sound quite natural, but I find on this record, all the way through track to track, that sounds like his voice, his actual voice. I don't hear any kind of a studio trickery being done. It sounds like his natural voice on all these tracks, and yeah, he kills it. He kills it on here. Um, as far as the album now, there's usually I can kind of gauge how much I like an album by how many songs I take off that album and put on my playlist. And off of this one, there's five that I think I took off and put on my playlist. So those are songs I want to sort of cherry pick and want to hear again and again. But there is enough variety on this record. The Rolling Stones, I mean, they don't do the same thing, song in, song out on an album. There's ballads on here. There's some straight up rock and roll. There's some blues on here. There's some country tinged stuff on here. It's just a really good mix of material. Standout tracks. Let me just talk about the standout tracks for me. In the Stars. Now that is again very Stones-ish in the looseness and the groove of the guitars, but then it locks in on a really really hooky chorus, and I think In the Stars may be, if not my favorite song on here. It's going to be in my top two. Just going through these, Jealous Lover, it's okay. That one is kind of a grower on me. Mick's doing that falsetto thing that, think of, Only Fools Cry, or um, is that what the song's called? Only Fools Can Cry? Like some, the song I'm talking about. Or, Emotional Rescue. He does a bit of that on here. Yeah, that one's okay. That's an okay song. Well, I guess I'm going through all the songs. Let me start with the first one, Rough and Twisted. That's a straight up dirty, rough, slide guitar kind of blues track, which is okay. It's not bad. The harmonica playing on this record too, I gotta say, is fantastic. Does a fantastic job playing harmonica on this. What else we got here? Jealous Lover, Mr. Charm. That chorus, Mr. Charm, Mr. Charm. It doesn't ruin the song, but it could be a lot better if they came up with something a little bit better. as far as a chorus on this. But Mr. Charm's a decent song. Divine Intervention, man, that's got one of those choruses that just absolutely elevates. It just sort of takes you away, and definitely an earworm sing along. Divine Intervention is one of my favorite tracks on this record because that chorus is just undeniable. Ringing Hollow, that one's all right. Never Want to Lose You, that's okay. That's typical Stones fare, I guess. Hit Me in the Head, that's probably almost like a heavy, hard rock song. That's pretty damn heavy. Hit Me in the Head is a pretty heavy track. You Know I'm No Good. That's the cover, the Amy Winehouse cover. They do a pretty good job on that. Some of Us, the Keith Richards song. Man, Keith's got that sort of really deep kind of, I smoke 10 packs a day kind of rough voice. But I love the tone of his voice, and it's a really good song. And it's got some really cool changes, chord changes in it that are kind of interesting. So I dig it. I dig that. Covered in You, that one's all right. Side Effects, there's another one that just, man, that's an earworm. It's just a really, really catchy chorus, and that's a pretty good song all around. Back in Your Life is okay, and then they do the cover of Beautiful Delilah, which is, I believe, a Chuck Berry cover. So um, there's, there's that Rolling Stones variety that they're well known for. I think it's a pretty decent album all the way through. I don't get any ear fatigue listening to it because again, there's so many things, different styles and things they toy with. The key ingredients. The sort of loose guitar feel. The harmonica, the space. It's all there. Steve Jordan plays a hell of a lot like Charlie Watts does or did. Rest in peace, Charlie Watts. So that whole feel is there. The only other thing that I would say that I'm not a huge fan of, that I'm kind of disappointed in actually, is some of these songs are sort of built up kind of like, being a guitar player, I'm always listening to that build up. Okay, there's the second chorus. Here comes a guitar solo. And I got to say, Ronnie Wood's guitar solos on this, I don't know. It did just leave me flat. There's no fire really in them. There's nothing really imaginative. Melodically, there's not a lot to sort of pull you in. I mean, the whole point of a guitar solo is, to take the song to the next level. And Ronnie Wood, I don't know, man. It's like they're phoned in. That's a little disappointing. The riffs are great, the chorus is great, and then you get to, okay, here comes the guitar solo, and then it kind of leaves you flat. So, that's another that's one of the things that I found disappointing with this record. But I mean, overall, it's a pretty decent record. I still I think if I was to compare this to Hackney Diamonds, I think I'd like Hackney Diamonds maybe just a little bit more than this one, but not a bad record. I mean, if I was to rate this out of 10, I'd probably give this something like maybe a 7.5, 7.5, somewhere in around there. If you're a Rolling Stones fan, it's a must-have. Again, the signature Stones feel and groove is in there. The looseness is in there. The controlled chaos of the Stones is in there. But yeah, there's my overdue review of Foreign Tongues. So thanks for watching. If you got this far, if you're new to the channel, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, and we'll catch you all next time. Cheers.